Hi guys, welcome back to A Mind of a Clueless Girl. If you are back, that probably means you listened to the first episode, so thank you for that, and I hope you enjoyed that, and I hope you continue to enjoy, and I hope you continue to, what am I saying? I hope you continue, oh my god, I can't speak today, not a great day to be recording a podcast if my words are not forming. Hope you continue to enjoy the podcast. So today I thought, as I kind of, on the last episode, kind of brushed over the fact that I had OCD, and that's kind of what started me on this journey of wanting to talk more about mental health and why I kind of started this podcast. So I thought today I would kind of dive into that a little bit more, and discuss how that all started for me, and the journey I had throughout having that, when it was at its worst, and where I am now and how I deal with it now, although I might speak more on things that I do now and how I cope with them in another episode, or this is just going to be super long and I don't want to completely bore you to death. So I feel a bit weird doing this podcast now because I haven't actually recorded since the first episode in 6 months nearly. I've just been really busy with other things, so I feel a bit weird recording again. I feel a bit weird talking to the thing. I'm like, what am I saying? I don't want to say anything wrong, but I mean, at the end of the day, one, I can edit, and two, this is all raw and real, and so what? We all mess up, and yeah, whatever. So I kind of made a few notes of the things I want to talk about because I feel like I'm just going to go off on a tangent if I don't have any kind of guidance for this. So let's crack on with the story of how I got OCD, how I dealt with it at the time, the things I went through, and really where I am now because of it and all of that. Just because, if you're struggling from OCD, or you just realise you have it, or you've had it for a while and you're still struggling, and you just feel a bit alone, and you feel weird, you feel like you're unusual, you feel like you can't talk to anyone about it, well, I'm hoping this helps you a little bit at least, and makes you feel better, and makes you realise that you're not weird, there's nothing wrong with you. It's quite a common disorder to have, I believe, and everyone I think has it to a degree. I think it's just on a spectrum, and so at the end of the day, it's not anything to be ashamed about, it's not anything to feel weird about. It's a disorder at the end of the day. You can't help that you have it. You can do what you can do to help it and to improve it, and I encourage that for your sake, not because it's weird, but so you feel better, because it can really be quite debilitating and controlling if it's bad, and if it gets out of control. So I hands down think if you feel like it's bad and it's getting in the way of you living, you should go see someone and talk to them about it. But there's nothing wrong with you for having it, and you shouldn't feel ashamed for having it. You should just embrace it and improve it the best way you can, and there's nothing wrong with you. You shouldn't feel weird, you shouldn't feel alone. If you need to talk to someone, then you can talk to me if you want to, but I would definitely first off suggest you go see a professional, and they will definitely be able to help you. And yeah, I know therapy is not for everyone, but I think it's worth giving it at least a try to begin with, because I personally found it's helped me so much, and I wouldn't have known that if I hadn't tried. Whereas if you never know, you'll never try. If you never know, you'll never try. No, if you never try, you'll never know. So I really think you should. Anyway, enough with the waffling. I hope that made some kind of sense. I kind of do go off on a tangent. If you watch my YouTube videos as well, you probably know that too. So I just wanted to kind of start by talking about how it all started for me. So a little bit of a backstory of my childhood. My parents separated quite young, and that was fine. They have a really good relationship now. They actually live together again now, but as friends. It's confusing. I'm not going to dive into it, but they're not back together. But yeah, they've got a good relationship now, so it all worked out well in the end. But when I was a kid, so my parents separated when I was 5, and I spent more of the time with my mum. I saw my dad at weekends, but my dad kept the house, and my mum kind of moved from house to house. We didn't have a lot of money, so she would rent accommodation rather than buying a property, so we moved quite a lot. And in the last place we rented before she actually ended up buying a place, we had this it sounds really silly saying it now, and I can't believe saying this is the reason. It sounds so stupid to say out loud, but it is what triggered mine, and that's you can't help how your brain works. But we had quite what felt to me quite a bad infestation of fleas, and that just for me set it off. It didn't start straight off the bat. We got them and I was terrified. I can't even explain how I felt. I mean, no one likes them, and they can bloody infest your house, and you need to get them sorted if you do have them, because it can get out of control. But they're not going to kill you. They're not going to like do anything to you really, apart from bite you. But I was terrified of them. I dreaded going home after school. I literally had this sinking feeling, like anxiety beyond belief. I hated being home. I couldn't do it. I couldn't deal with it. I really, really like hated them. I would like walk around with white socks to see if they were there. I was honestly, it was so, so bad, and I don't know why, but it just really affected me. And at the time, I was probably like 10, 11, and it just really, really affected me. And the only reason I got over them, or like we got rid of them, basically we moved to a different rented accommodation, and that's how we kind of got rid of them. Like, so I never actually saw the end result of them going away. Like I know obviously exterminators come in and they get rid of them. We had an exterminator in to get rid of them, but like obviously since then I've seen, because we had them again like a few years ago, the end result, and like that they do go away after extermination. But at the time I didn't witness that. I didn't see it. I moved. So for me, I didn't see them as leaving. So in my head, I was like, you can never get rid of them. The only way you can get rid of them is by moving, and I'm not going to be able to move every time we would get one, like we would get an infestation. So it really, really affected me mentally. And it sounds so ridiculous saying this out loud, but like it did. And this is what triggered it for me. And since then I've had counselling, and my counsellor thinks it's like symbolic for something, and it wasn't actually fleas, it was something else. And like, yeah, but that's a long story that I might dive into another time, but it's a bit personal right now. So whether that is the case, I don't know. But anyway, so that happened. And then we moved to this new place. So I didn't have OCD at this time. I was just terrified of fleas. And we moved to this new place. It was all great. It was all dandy, you know, living my best life as a 12-year-old. I'd gone, no, how old would I be? 11 even. I'd started senior school. I started my high school, which thankfully I knew a lot of people, because my school was from like reception all the way to sixth form, so I knew a lot of the girls from junior school, so that kind of helped a little bit, knowing people, because it would have been worse with my OCD if I started a completely new school and no one knew me and I was acting a certain type of way and they were like, what the hell? Anyway, I'm jumping ahead of myself here. I need to stop doing that. So so I moved into this new place. I was afraid of fleas, didn't have OCD at the time, but I was just terrified of getting these fleas again. And then one day I was just lying in bed, I think I was like getting ready for bed or something, and I saw this little black dot on my bed, which to be honest now I think was probably just a piece of fluff. But at the time I was convinced that I saw it jump. I was convinced that it was a flea, and I was like, fuck, they're here now, I can never escape them, blah, blah, blah. And all of a sudden I just started finding that I would have to do these like rituals, these things, these like, I don't know, I had to do certain things because I thought if I didn't do them, then I was going to get a really bad infestation of fleas again. They were going to come back. I was going to get punished, which is weird because like I remember once going to a counsellor a few years back and saying about this whole being punished thing, and she was like, are you really religious? And I was like, no, not really. Like I wouldn't consider myself religious at all, to be honest. I believe there's something there, but I'm not like a big religious person, like believes in God and believes in like a higher power. Well, I don't know, I sort of do. I don't know, but I'm not religious. And I was just like, no, but I just believe that I'm going to be punished by something, and I don't know what, but I just believe there's like some kind of power that's going to punish me if I don't do these things. And that time I thought the punishment would be an infestation of fleas, which for me would have been the worst thing possible as 11 for some reason. So I would do all these rituals. I was obsessed with like even numbers, and I wouldn't even allow myself out of the house on odd days of the week unless it was for school. That's how bad it was. Like I just wouldn't allow myself out. I couldn't. I wasn't allowed to go out, you know, like if I did, we would get fleas. So it was really, really bad. Like it consumed, like probably from like the age of 11 up till like the age of like 13. Maybe not that long, but like for a good year, it consumed me. It fully consumed me. And I literally, like, I didn't live life, like my life was controlled by my OCD. Like I lived for my OCD, if that makes sense. Like I was consumed. My day revolved, like my OCD controlled my day. Like it wasn't I was living and then I had to do a few things here and there. No, I had my OCD rituals, and then every now and then I might do something normal. Like that's how I lived. I don't know if that makes sense, but like it controlled my entire day, it controlled my entire life. I dreaded getting up in the morning. I honestly was in a really dark and bad place, and like I dreaded getting up in the morning. I dreaded every day. Like for me, being asleep was the most peaceful time, because like every morning it would be the same again. I would take 3 or 4 hours to get ready. I would have to do certain things. I would literally like live for my OCD. Like that's all I did all day. Rituals. And I got so tired. I didn't want to eat. I lost a lot of weight. Like I was just running on anxiety and OCD at the time. And I didn't know what it was. I didn't know it was OCD. I just knew I had to do all these things. And I think that made it worse. Like I didn't know what was going on with me. I just thought I was this weird, strange person. And like I thought I was abnormal and I didn't understand. And then just one day my mum was just like, we need to go get you to see someone. Like you have OCD. And I was like, huh? What? Like I didn't know what OCD was. I was like, what the hell is that? And then obviously I went to get therapy. My first therapist wasn't the best. It actually made it worse. But then I went to see someone and he likes to say that I did all the work, but I don't believe that's the case. So if it wasn't for this guy, I honestly don't know where I'd be today, because he helped me so much and literally improved my OCD beyond belief. Obviously, like I still have it and I get flare-ups. And at the moment, because of like lockdown and being alone with my thoughts a lot of the time, like it has got a lot worse. But I don't think it will ever be as bad as it used to be. Like that was like bad. Like when I was like 11, 12, it was really bad. I didn't see any light at the end of the tunnel. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. I don't know why I said that like that. But yeah, so it was really bad. Another thing that I had to do a lot, and I think a lot of people noticed this at school, was like I would have to go over my words like over and over and over and over, and like my writing was atrocious because of it. And to write a sentence, it would take me almost an hour. So I was like falling really behind the school. Teachers didn't really understand what was going on. And that's a sad thing. Like, I don't know if they're more aware now, but when I went to school, teachers weren't really aware. They didn't understand it. They weren't very supportive of it at the beginning. And I even remember my mum told me like a few years ago that she told my teacher in confidence that I had to sing so my teachers would know. And my teacher decided to take it upon herself to tell the rest of the kids and be like, oh, she's suffering from this, so be nice, blah, blah, blah. And I know she probably had good intentions, but I thought that was really not the right thing to do to a bunch of 11-year-old girls, telling her, oh, this girl's different. Like, I just don't think that's the way to teach people things. Like, I think at the age of 11, you hear, oh, they're different, and they have to do these things, and they automatically think weirdo, which is not right. And I think that kids need to be taught more. But at the age of 11, like you don't understand, and that's not necessarily the kid's fault. Like, if that makes sense. I feel like I'm not making any sense. But yeah, so back to the story. I had to do all these things. I didn't know I had OCD. Then I went to get help and it got better. But initially it wasn't very good. Like, it was really, really bad. Like I said, I just hated being awake. It was really awful. And I've thankfully never had the feeling of wanting to take my own life and the thought of wanting to take my own life. And I'm grateful for that. And I hope I never do. And I hope, like, I don't want anyone to feel that way. But obviously my mum did worry, and I gave the impression a lot when I was younger that I did, because I remember I was just like, it was so tiring to live my life. Like, it was so tiring. And I know it sounds overdramatic, but it truly was, especially at the age of 11. Like, I didn't completely understand what was going on. I had to do all these things. I was living in constant anxiety and fear, and like my life just revolved. Everything I did was so tiring because it took me like an hour to do anything, because I had to do like all these rituals, like getting up, sitting down, getting up in the morning, going to bed in the evening, eating, anything. I can't even remember everything, but like everything, writing, everything took me hours. So it was just a drain. Like, there was no point. I never got anything done in the day because all I was doing was rituals. Like, my life was rituals. And like I said, I only really was at peace, which sounds a bit bad. I don't know how to word it better, but like when I was sleeping, because I didn't have to worry. I was asleep, I was in my dreams, whatever. And I just remember one day I was just so done with it. I was just so overwhelmed and really tired and just really like, I couldn't anymore. And I just turned around to my mum and I was like, oh, sometimes, and this was the wrong thing to say because I really didn't mean anything by it, but obviously at 11 I didn't really know how to word things very well. And I just went, oh, like, it'd just be so much easier if I just wasn't here. And like, obviously that terrified my mum. And I wasn't thinking anything about it in that way. I was just like generally so exhausted. I was like, I can't do it anymore. But like, I wasn't planning on doing anything to myself. I was just tired. I just wanted it to be fixed. And I remember once my mum was too afraid to leave the house because she just turned around and was like, I don't want to leave you alone, because after what you just said the other day, I don't feel safe leaving you on your own. And I was so confused because I obviously didn't have any thoughts to do anything. And I was just like, oh shit, like I didn't realise how that sounded. So it was like, it was really bad. Like I said, I lost a lot of weight. It was really, really bad. And another thing is I was a bit of a loner at school. Like like I said, it started kind of just as I started senior school. So I was in year 7, so I think I was 11 turning 12, and I didn't understand what it was at first. Obviously it was really bad, like, and I felt like a weirdo. I felt, I didn't want anyone to see me doing rituals. I found it really hard to hide them. Like now when I kind of do them, people don't know. Like I hide them. I'm quite good at hiding them and concealing them. I'm sure a lot of my friends probably do know, and maybe I think I'm better at hiding them than I am, but I don't really care anymore. Like this, I have it. It is what it is, like I don't enjoy having it. I don't like it, but like I shouldn't be ashamed of it, and neither should you if you do. So like I said, you do what you can to improve it for yourself, but not for anybody else. Like like no one should make you feel like a freak for having it, because it's a disorder and there's nothing wrong with it, And I personally think my OCD sometimes makes me who I am today, and I think without it, I wouldn't have become who I am, and I like who I am, So going completely off topic here. So it was really, really bad, and I kind of isolated myself from people. Like I was quite a loner in year 7 and a kind of a weirdo, and it's because 11-year-olds don't understand, and they aren't going to be like, oh, are you okay? No, that's fine. Like they're going to think you're weird. Secondly, and that's, I'm not saying that's right, but unfortunately you can't necessarily change how a little kid's going to be. And secondly, I kind of isolated myself from other people. Like I was a loner because I kind of created myself to be a loner. Like I didn't want to be around people. I didn't want to socialise people. I felt ashamed. I felt weird. I felt like a freak. Like I was like, no one's going to want to be my friend. Like I didn't want to experience someone calling me out on it and noticing it and questioning it. So I kind of just avoided people. And yeah, I remember like I wasn't ever super, super confident, but like in year 6, I was a bit of a brat to be fair, but in year 6 when I was like 10 and before then, whatever, like junior school, I was quite a confident person. I was quite outgoing. I liked being friendly with people. Like I didn't have any issues, but I was a bit of a bitch. Like one thing I do have to say is I do think my OCD made me a better person for sure. But then I obviously got my OCD, and I completely my world came crumbling down, and I became so insecure, and it still affects me to this day, but like I became so insecure. I became such a recluse. I didn't want to be around anyone. I didn't want to do anything. I just hated myself. I hated everything about me. I was not in a good place. And it was a really like horrible time for me. And obviously I improved and I got better thanks to my counsellor. And I honestly don't know, like I said, what I would do without him or what I would have done without him. But it was still bad for a while. It was still a lot worse than it is now. And I remember the first time I told someone about it, actually. I think I was in year 9, and I was like, this is what I have, because I was so afraid to tell people. I felt so ashamed. Like I felt like it was a sin, or like, I should be disgusted with myself. And I was very thankful to have the parents that I did, because my parents were very supportive and like, you're not weird, it's fine, you're normal. I mean, it would be awful if your parents did say you're weird, but there are parents out there who don't understand these things and don't get their kids the right support because they don't know it. They don't know what to do about it. They don't understand it. They probably just think, oh, their kid's going through a bit of a phase, and they grow out of it. But thankfully, I think because my dad suffered from it, my parents saw the signs, understood what I had, and were like, we need to get her help for her sake, not because they thought I needed it, but because they thought I needed it for me, if that makes sense. They could see it was completely destroying me. And yeah, so I'm very grateful and thankful for the parents and the family I had and the support I got from home, because I personally, growing up, didn't think forgive me if I'm wrong and correct me if I'm wrong, but like I feel like mental health now is talked about so much more than when I was growing up, which is amazing. But I still don't feel like OCD is that widely talked about. But you can't talk about everything. Well, no, you can. But like when I was growing up, I didn't really understand it. I didn't know what it was. I didn't think anyone else had it. It wasn't widely talked about. It wasn't like made a normality. Like it wasn't normalized. It was seen as, I felt like I didn't feel like I could relate to anyone. I didn't feel like I knew anyone like me. I thought I was this weird, abnormal person. And unfortunately, when I was like 11, 12, things like Instagram and stuff weren't a thing, which I say unfortunately because there are a lot of things bad about Instagram, but there are a lot of positives with Instagram, YouTube, where like I have to say, like now since I've started watching like those YouTubers when I was younger, and like they would talk about mental health, it would make me feel so much better. That's kind of why partly I wanted to do this, because I was like, I want to make people feel the way I felt when I watched these videos. Like, oh, I'm not unusual. I'm not weird. It's okay to feel this way. It's okay to, have this. I'm not this strange creature that doesn't deserve to be treated well, like I'm not weird, I'm not a freak, I have a problem, it affects me, and that's that. It's a disorder. I'm going to have to probably live with that for the rest of my life and do what I can to improve it and get the support and help I need. But there's nothing wrong with me. I'm not a weirdo. Like, it's not that unusual to have. And I just felt like growing up before that time, before like YouTube and Instagram became bigger and mental health was more widely talked about, when I was like in the worst of it, I didn't have that. I didn't have any, support system apart from my family. I didn't have any people on social media talking about it. I didn't see it, talked about. The only time you saw OCD talked about was people were like not objectified for it. That's not the right word, but like it was kind of like poking fun at it a little bit. Like when you think of like I think that series Monk and I can't remember what else, but like when you think about the movie. Oh, what's that movie with not Nicolas Cage, Jack Nicholson in it? I can't remember it. Oh my god, this is going to really frustrate me. But there's a movie with Jack Nicholson in it. If you remember it, please tell me because I can't remember it. But where he has OCD, and I feel, it's like, I don't know, it's made to make someone feel like they're strange for having it, like they're different, and you're not different. Like I said, most people have it on a spectrum. If you are literally putting your pens in a pot and they have to face a certain way, but it's not going to affect your life that much, but, it just bothers you at that time. You have it to an extent, everyone does to an extent. It's just whether it affects your day-to-day or whether it's just like, you can let it go, but it's going to trigger you a little bit, But yeah, so I didn't feel like it was very normalised when I was a teenager, when I was going through the worst of it. I didn't feel like I had a lot of places where I could go to, where I could make myself feel normal, where I could be like, I can relate to them, they understand me, I understand them, I go through that, that's what I do, like, I felt weird, and so that's kind of why I'm telling you about this and why I want to do this podcast. I'm not always just going to talk about my OCD and like mental health, but like a lot of it is going to be about that. And just so you guys, if you do suffer from OCD or you struggle with mental health, it's not necessarily OCD, you feel like, you know what, I'm not alone. Oh my god, this made me feel so much better. Like, oh my god, yeah, she's right. And it may not help you at all, but it may do. And if this helps literally just one person, that would mean the world to me, because, that would be amazing. I want people to feel good about themselves. That's all I want. I want people to realise that they're not strange, there's nothing wrong with them, and it's totally fine to have a mental disorder. It's totally fine to suffer from mental health issues. You're not strange, you're not alone, you shouldn't feel ashamed of it, and you should just realise that you probably should go talk to someone about it, but not because you're weird and you need to fix yourself, but for your own sake, to make yourself feel better if it is affecting your life and weighing you down and making you feel like shit. It was a weight off my shoulders. Like, I felt so much better. I honestly felt so relieved. Like, I was like, yeah, this is what I have. And her reaction was just like, okay, yeah, all right, I understand, it's fine. Like, I'm glad you told me, I'm glad you confided in me. And obviously the reaction made me feel good, because it wasn't like you freak. Like, obviously at the time we were a lot older, we were 9, so we would have been, I don't know, like 13, 14. So a little bit more understanding, but you're still quite young. Like, you think at the age you're really old, but actually looking back at that, you're a child. You were literally a child. And then I started telling more people, and now, like, people know, like most people know. I don't tell everyone. I'm still quite shut off sometimes from telling certain people I don't know that well. I mean, I'm not going to just go up to someone and be like, hi, my name's Len, I have OCD. Like, it shouldn't matter. Like, it just might come into conversation later, and sometimes I just don't like opening up about it. And I won't tell everyone, including probably on this podcast, the things I used to do. Like, some things are fine, but some things are so personal, so, like, hard to talk about. I think literally my best friend and my mum and dad know. Well, my best friend and my family know. Like, no one else knows. So it's not necessarily anything bad. It's just I don't like talking about it. It makes me feel really emotional. And, like, I also think if you're not ready to talk about something, don't force it. It doesn't mean there's anything wrong with that feeling. It just means you're not ready to share it with people. But later down the line, I might share more with you if that's going to help other people, because other people might do that and feel so disgusted and ashamed in themselves and, weird, and I don't want people to feel like that. So if me sharing that's going to help, then I'll share it, but just maybe not in this episode. But I will talk about more things that I do now in another episode, and what I do to kind of like control them and make them not affect like my day-to-day to a point where I can't like live life. And I'm not going to lie, there are days when I really do struggle and the things I try and do to fix them don't help, but it helps for the most part. So if that can help other people, then again, that will make my day. That will really make my day and make me so happy. But like I said, and like I will keep probably saying, I'm not an expert. I'm just speaking from experience and having it myself, and things that have helped me because of things I've talked about with my therapist and that they've taught me that have helped me, and things that I've just learned that help me, you know. So I still recommend you talk to someone who's like, you know, qualified. But if this helps for the time being or just helps you on a day-to-day, then that was amazing, and I'll be very happy. But yeah, so had all that. Then as I got older, it got better, but I still have flare-ups. Like when I'm really stressed, I have really bad flare-ups. COVID's kind of made it flare up. When I'm too much on my own and not super busy, it flares up. But then also when I am super busy, and I feel like I can't cope with everything, I flare up. I get overwhelmed quite a lot. And one thing that I do get a lot recently is like I get really overwhelmed with a lot of noise, a lot going on around me, and like I find like I just shut off and I kind of just like go into my own little world because I just can't deal with it. Like I can't deal with being around loads of people. I just kind of want to scream. But I think that's just because I'm overwhelmed, because I've got a lot going on in my own head because of like things I'm trying to accomplish and things getting in the way and stuff, that it's a lot. So, you know, it still flares up. I'm not going to say, oh, I'm cured. I don't think I'll ever be cured. Like, it's a disorder. I think I'm going to live with it for the rest of my life. But it's not what it was, and I don't think it'll ever be what it was when I was young. Because one, I'm older, so I know how to take care of myself better, I think. And two, I think if it wasn't for my therapist then, who literally saved my life, or for the therapists I've had since, I probably wouldn't be where I am. And if it wasn't for family, if it wasn't for people supporting me and making me realise and like helping me, and you know, so I kind of want, like, as much as I didn't get this help and support maybe from like social media and stuff and feel normal and whatever, and like that would have helped even more, so I at least had a family, and like a family who helped me and made me feel better and everything. You know, you might not have that support, you might not have a family who understands it, or you know, or you might not want to talk to your family. You may feel so weird and like your family are going to judge you or think you're a freak, which they won't. If your family love you, which I would hope they do, they won't, you know. So you should tell them, because they're going to be the best support you can get. But if you're not ready to tell them, but you still feel like weird, then I hope this makes you feel better and makes you realise that you're not. And I also just kind of sharing my like, oh, I was very close to the microphone then, sharing my like experience with it and like the story of how it started, how I was and how I am now, because to show, you know, there is light at the end of the tunnel. If you are suffering from it tremendously and you know your life has been controlled by it, you're doing all these things, you're not living life, you literally are so controlled and you don't see that ever ending. Trust me, I've been there. I didn't think it was ever going to end. I didn't get it, I didn't understand it, I didn't know what was happening, and I think that was worse. I didn't know what it was. I couldn't comprehend what it was. I was so young as well. And my mum tells me that she said she thinks I've had it for like way before then, but like I wasn't aware of it. But like at the time I was very aware of it. It was affecting me so much. I didn't understand. Like I said, it was like I didn't see it ending. I literally, my life was just like shit basically, and I didn't. If you told me then I would be where I am now, I wouldn't believe you. So I'm kind of like sharing my experience with it as well, to show that like if you get help, if you see a therapist, you can do it yourself. Believe in yourself as well, like that you can, you know, fix something and fight something and be like, fuck you OCD, you are not going to control my life. And like with anything, with any mental health disorder or like illness, like you can get better and you will get better if you want to get better, if that makes sense. Like, and I truly believe that, and let this be an example of that I went from not doing anything my day, you know, literally spending hours getting ready, not having any friends, like feeling like crap, hating myself, to, I mean, I still don't love myself in other ways, but like having a full-time job, doing YouTube on the side, doing this podcast, and yes, I get so stressed with it all, but like finding the time to do all of it, you know, spending time with friends, not taking 5 hours to get ready, not feeling like I can't do anything with my day, not like letting my OCD control me. Yeah, it flares up. Yeah, sometimes it's really bad. Yeah, sometimes I want to cry because it's overwhelming me, but it's not the same and it will never be the same. And I don't think I would be here and feel like this if I didn't get the help that I did. And I just also want this to be like proof that you can get better, and it's not going to control you forever. So I feel like I've completely gone off on a tangent, like I said, but I hope this helped. And yeah, I'm in the next episode, because it's going to be way too long now, I'll talk about like things that I do now and like how I cope with them, and so give some advice on that, I guess, because I can't tell you how I fixed the other things because it was so long ago, and I would personally say that was mainly therapy. And I think if yours is real bad, like really really bad, you should go see someone, because I think the first steps are to get someone to help you externally, but as time goes on you can learn to help yourself and maintain it yourself. And I'm not saying I'm amazing, like there are days when I can't control it and I'm like, fuck this shit, I can't do it anymore, but it's a small blip, and I can usually control it by doing certain things, like, you know, meditation or making, like, organising, whatever. So like in the next episode I'll talk about that more, and I'll say, like I said, things that I necessarily feel now or do now, and things that I do to help with that, and hopefully that can help too. But yeah, I just wanted to kind of give a backstory. I might also do more of, well, I probably will do more episodes about talking about other things that I struggle from. Again, just not to be like, I have this and I have this and I have this and I have this, feel bad for me. It's more like, just, I have this and this is what I do and this is how it happened. So if my story helps you, if my story makes you feel better about yourself, then that's amazing. If it doesn't, well then I'm sorry. But I just hope it helps one person. You know, that's all I want to do. And in a weird way, this is kind of therapy for me, because I'm getting how I'm feeling out. And it's not always going to be about other things. I'm going to talk about current things that I may be going through, or, you know, just day-to-day stuff, or, you know, my thoughts on things and how I'm feeling. And just, yeah, it's not all just going to be about me talking about my OCD and my other issues. It's just going to be me talking about my mind. As I said, as it's titled, Mind of a Clueless Girl. But I do want it to be predominantly centered around mental health, because I just want to make other people feel better, because it makes me feel good when I make other people feel good. So, you know, I just want to give people the support and make it normalised, make it like cut those stereotypes, make people feel less weird and normal and whatever, and, you know, give them the feeling that I don't think I had when I was really going through the worst of my OCD, because I don't think anyone should feel like they're weird or alone or like strange and a freak, and, you know, have to feel like they need to isolate from their people that they go to school with and be lonely because they think that this thing that they're going through is so weird, and like they are not deserving of like a normal life because they're a freak. I don't want anyone to feel like that. I don't want anyone to feel the way I felt. So, you know, if this does make anyone feel better and make people realise that they aren't alone and they shouldn't feel this way, then honestly that would make my day. So I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. I hope it made sense, and I hope it didn't bore you to death. But, you know, make sure to leave some comments and let me know maybe what you want me to talk about in the future. But I think the next episode I'm going to talk about, like I said, what I do now and what I struggle with now. You know, just like how I deal with it and how I control it now. I've said now so many times. But I hope you guys enjoyed, and I hope I'm trying to do my YouTube outro and this is not the same thing. I need to stop. Please make sure to hit the subscribe button. No, I'm joking. But yeah, subscribe please and like this video. If you're watching this on YouTube, if you're listening to this on Spotify, then that made no sense. But give this podcast a follow, I guess. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you guys next week for the next episode. Bye. too long now, I'll talk about like things that I do now and like how I cope with them, and so give some advice on that, I guess, because I can't tell you how I fixed the other things because it was so long ago, and I would personally say that was mainly therapy. And I think if yours is real bad, like really really bad, you should go see someone, because I think the first steps are to get someone to help you externally, but as time goes on you can learn to help yourself and maintain it yourself. And I'm not saying I'm amazing, like there are days when I can't control it and I'm like, fuck this shit, I can't do it anymore, but it's a small blip and I can usually control it by doing certain things like, you know, meditation or making, like organising, whatever. So like in the next episode I'll talk about that more, and I'll say, like I said, things that I necessarily feel now or do now and things that I do to help with that, and hopefully that can help too. But yeah, I just wanted to kind of give a backstory. I might also do more of, well, I probably will do more episodes about talking about other things that I struggle from. Again, just not to be like, I have this and I have this and I have this and I have this, feel bad for me. It's more like just, I have this and this is what I do and this is how it happened. So if my story helps you, if my story makes you feel better about yourself, then that's amazing. If it doesn't, well then I'm sorry. But I just hope it helps one person. You know, that's all I want to do. And in a weird way, this is kind of therapy for me because I'm getting how I'm feeling out. And it's not always going to be about other things. I'm going to talk about current things that I may be going through, or, you know, just day-to-day stuff, or, you know, my thoughts on things and how I'm feeling. And just, yeah, it's not all just going to be about me talking about my OCD and my other issues. It's just going to be me talking about my mind. As I said, as it's titled, Mind of a Clueless Girl. But I do want it to be predominantly centered around mental health because I just want to make other people feel better, because it makes me feel good when I make other people feel good. So, you know, I just want to give people the support and make it normalised, make it like cut those stereotypes, not make people feel less weird and normal and whatever, and, you know, give them the feeling that I don't think I had when I was really going through the worst of my OCD, because I don't think anyone should feel like they're weird or alone or like strange and a freak and, you know, have to feel like they need to isolate from their people that they go to school with and be lonely because they think that this thing that they're going through is so weird and like they are not deserving of like a normal life because they're a freak. I don't want anyone to feel like that. I don't want anyone to feel the way I felt. So, you know, if this does make anyone feel better and make people realise that they aren't alone and they shouldn't feel this way, then honestly that would make my day. So I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. I hope it made sense and I hope it didn't bore you to death. But, you know, make sure to leave some comments and let me know maybe what you want me to talk about in the future. But I think the next episode I'm going to talk about, like I said, what I do now and what I struggle with now. Oh, and that was a nice little notification on my laptop. Talk about what I do now and what I struggle with now, and, you know, just like how I deal with it and how I control it now. I said now so many times. But I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'm trying to do my YouTube outro and this is not the same thing. I need to stop. Please make sure to hit the subscribe button. No, I'm joking. But yeah, subscribe please and like this video. If you're watching this on YouTube, if you're listening to this on Spotify, then that makes no sense. But give this podcast a follow, I guess. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you guys next week for the next episode. Bye.